Hi guys, my name is Anastasia and today I want to talk with you about nail education. Is it possible to learn everything by yourself or do you need to take a special class? Usually in most countries, in order to work, you need to get a special license. So you need to go to the beauty school, so you will get a license and you will have the legal right to do the work. But in some countries, it is not necessary. So I'm not talking about this first education. Of course, you need to take your first beauty school in order to get the license. But after some time passes, after 6 months, you usually realize that okay, beauty schools they gave the basic skills of understanding of the product, so how you sterilize your implements, how the acrylic, how gel works, how to do manicure, pedicure, but there are so many things besides that. The technology, they grow so fast, so usually we want to know how to do the nail art, how to do acrylic and gel design, etc. So the question is it possible to learn it just by yourself or do you need to take a special class? So in my personal experience, I had both. So I've been studying by myself and I've been taking, I think, around 100 classes for now. So I can tell you both opinions and both sides of view. So, for example, when I decided to become a nail technician, in Russian country where I live, it is not necessary to have any kind of license. So basically you can just watch the video on the YouTube or even go to the nail salon and see how the nail technicians work, and then the next day you're a nail technician. So most of the nail salons, they require to show some paper. It is some kind of license, we call it certificate or diploma, but what matters most is your skill. So if you go to some nail salon, if you do nails to someone who's hiring you and she will be like, okay, you're doing a good job, you can get hired. So I want to do everything right and legal way, so I decided to take a beauty school. It was 2 weeks. I learned how to do acrylic nails. And I thought, okay, now I'm a high-class nail technician, and I started working private, like at my home, at my apartment, and most of the clients, they didn't come back. I thought the reason for that is because maybe they don't like me, they don't like location, they don't like products, I don't know. I was blaming everything, but I never thought that it was because of how I work. So only after a few years I realized the reason they didn't came back was because they didn't like my job. So their nails just didn't last for 3 weeks as they were supposed to. They were peeling, they were cracking, so they didn't look good after a week or two, and that was the reason. So I realized that I need to learn more, so I started to investigate the internet. And back then in 2004, it was so hard to find something useful. There was not so many YouTube videos, no Periscope, no Instagram, so it was really hard to find information. So I was searching for people who are more skillful than me, and I was just writing to them and asking them for advice. So one girl was really friendly and helpful to me. She was from another city in Russia, and she did the step-by-step photos of explaining how to do the pink and white refill with acrylic. And I'm so thankful to her, it helped me so much. So I was just looking at her photos and trying to do the same on myself, then on my mom, on my sister, and I did it by myself on a client. So now I can tell you, so I learned pink and white rebalance and all kinds of rebalance by myself. I was never taught how to do it, but it took me 3 years to finally do this refill that was satisfying to me. Clients were satisfied, but I wasn't, because I wanted this refill to last for 4 weeks and more. And what's most important, I wanted the nails look after the refill exactly how they looked when I just sculpted them, so like they're totally new set, not the rebound. So Now I can say that it is possible to learn something just by trying again and again and over, but it will take you 10 times longer. It's a longer path. So it took me 3 years, and it took me a couple, let's say no, around 20 lost clients. So if it's worth it, then you can follow this path. But once again, I did it not because I didn't want to take some class or something. There were no schools back then. So to sum it up, to give a conclusion, I can tell you that when it comes to some basic skills like manicure, pedicure, and nail sculpting, it is always better to take a class, because the people, the educators there teaching you, they have more experience and skill anyway, so they can give you these tips and tricks that they already know from their experience, and they can give you some tips on how not to do the common mistakes, so you can just skip them, and it's really valuable. But when it comes to additional skills, for example, you just learn how to do nail sculpting with acrylic, and then you want to do some advanced shapes like stiletto, almond, edge, something else. So learning some additional stuff is possible by yourself. Once again, it will take you longer than if you would take some special class, because when you go to a class, the educator, they not just show you how to do it, because you can actually watch it on the YouTube for free. What's more valuable in the class is that they can actually see your mistakes. So, for example, you just watched a nice video how to do the stilettos, and then you did it by yourself. And you're like looking at them and like, well, they don't look as good as on the video. And you understand it because you can actually see the difference, but you cannot tell what is the mistake, just for a reason because you don't have that much skill and experience yet. And it's okay. And when you go to a class, the educator can look at your nails and tell you, okay, you are doing the fitting the form is wrong, like you are setting it too low and you need to place it higher, or you are not pinching the nails the right way. So they can just look and tell you what is your common mistake. So when you go back home, you will know that you need to pay attention on fitting the form or pinching or something else. So taking a class just helps you to learn something a lot faster and to avoid some mistakes. But if you're stubborn, if you're really in love with what you do and you actually like, learning, trying again and again, and it's okay for you to just sit for hours and try it. And also there are some situations when people just can't take a class because they live too far or they can't afford it, and it's okay. So my opinion is, for basic skills like manicure, pedicure, nail sculpting, it is always better to take a class in a beauty school. And for some additional skills like nail art, advanced shapes, etc., it is possible to learn them by yourself. So if you're ready to give some time, practice to set up your nerves, to be ready to repeat it over and over again, then it is quite possible. And if you want to skip it, if you want to take the elevator instead of taking stairs, if you're like, okay, I want to do the shape in a week, I don't have a whole month for it, then taking a class is the safest and faster way. So I'm not encouraging you like, okay, go take a class right away, because I'm an educator by myself, and even taking a class does not 100% give you like, okay, you took a class and you immediately can do the same amazing design as well as your educator. Of course not. You still need to practice a lot, but just when you take a class, you'll have some experience from the educator and you will know how to avoid the common mistakes. So no matter what path you choose, learning by yourself or taking a class, learning is good anyway. So I would really love to know your opinion. So what I just said is my personal experience, my personal opinion, so I'm not telling you that, okay, it's the only right way and you all need to do that. No, of course not. We're all different, we all have different backgrounds, different skill, and we all choose our own path. So please share your experience. Did you go to the beauty school or did you learn something by yourself? So how was it? Was it hard? Was it easy? And what would you recommend to the nail technicians who are only beginning their way? Should they take a class, or is it possible to learn everything just by yourself? Thank you very much for watching, and if you don't want to miss my vlogs, nail art tutorials and other stuff related to nails in the future, please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you later. Goodbye!